Dieting versus exercise for weight loss. Two groundbreaking new studies address the question of why so many of us who work out remain so happy. In a just world, frequent physical activity should make us slim. But repeated studies have shown that many people who begin an exercise program lose little or no weight, some gain. To better understand why, anthropologists leading one of the new studies begin with a research trip to Tanzania. There, they recruited volunteers for Hansa trip, whose members still live by hunting and gathering. The researchers measured how many miles each of the tribe people walked daily while searching for food, and precisely determined their energy expenditure and metabolic rate for 11 days. They then compared those members with the same measures for an average male and female Westerner. It's long been believed that a hunter-gatherer lifestyle involves considerable physical activity and therefore burns more calories than average American office workers. And it was true. The Hansa people in general moved more than many Americans do, with the man walking about 7 miles a day and the woman about 3. However, it was not true that they were burning far more calories. In fact, the scientists calculated the Hansa's average metabolic rate, or the average of calories they were burning over the course of a day, was about the same as the average metabolic rate for Westerners. The implication, the scientists concluded, is that active traditional lifestyles may not protect against obesity if diets change to promote increased calorie consumption. Even active people will pack on pounds if they eat like most of us in the West. The underlying message of that finding, of course, is that physical activity by itself is not going to make and keep you thin. The second study disproved the expectation that if you exercise, your metabolism will not drop as you lose weight. Diana Thomas, a professor of mathematics at Montclair State University in New Jersey, led the study and found that volunteers' basal metabolic rates dropped as they lose weight, even though they exercise every day. As a result, although they were burning up to 500 calories during an exercise session, their total daily calorie burn was lower than it would have been had their metabolism remained unchanged, and they lost less weight than had been expected. So Dr. Thomas recalibrates weight loss formulas, taking into account the drop in metabolism. Using his new formulas, he's working with a group of volunteers, providing them with improved predictions about how much weight they can expect to lose on exercise. The predictions are proven accurate, she says, and although her forecast for less weight loss than that under old formula, the volunteers are pleased. It's better to meet lower expectations, she says, than to be disappointed that you're not losing what you supposedly should. Dr. Thomas is perhaps her own best advertisement. In the past few years, she's shed 70 pounds and had gained none of it back. Back to Mr. Toastmaster.
You're reading things, and then you're also supposed to, directly to the camera. So the thing you did really well, I think, is eye contact. There's always a little bobbing up and down, but at least half the time you're looking at the camera, which is great. Which is really, really great. You get a lot of details. For a statistician, I wouldn't expect anything else. A lot of details about what's going on, so you understand kind of the picture of things that there are. Details can be useful. Think about how you can also use a description of details, how they really work. So if you 4 out of 5 dentists is one of the most famous examples. Instead of saying 80%, you say 4 out of 5 dentists. It sounds, that's a marketing thing, I know, but stretch over to the evals side.
Yes.
Think about that. And also steady reading. As you read it, you were very steady and straightforward. We'll come back to that in a little bit. The challenge of it is to be more conversational because you're reading. The challenge once you're sitting down is like all the energy goes out of it. But you really want to do everything you're doing standing up while you're sitting down. So you want to be more conversational. pace things out. Some things longer, some things slower, just like I mentioned with Cynthia. More emotional, passion, show some passion, excitement about it. And then finally, gestures. Use gestures from standing up, use gestures from sitting down. One thing you can do is do the thing standing up, and do it just like you really do, and then sit down, and see if you can do kind of the same sort of stuff, sitting down. And that's why I kind of like this book, and I go back and I keep trying to say, how can I really get more speaking like while I'm sitting down?
Cynthia, your speech had very good points. I like how you stressed how exercise is not necessarily going to help you lose weight. I thought your speech put that out very well. My main suggestion would be to slow down. Even though you're sitting down, you don't have to go real fast. You can speak slower, because I was trying to understand throughout the course of your speech what you were saying, and sometimes it was difficult.
Julia, I am interested in doing that book, so thank you for setting the example. I really like that topic. It's a very relevant topic, and you supported it by research, and I also liked that conclusion. You used an example of Dr. Thomas herself as an example, and that was a good way to end, I thought. A couple growth opportunities. At first you said Hunza or Hansa. I was not clear on who you were talking about. Who are these people? And I thought you might have said trip or trib at first, and I believe it's a tribe of people, but I wasn't clear, so then I got lost, and I felt there was too much detail for television, and I did lose my way a little in the middle, and came back around when Dr. Thomas was at the end. That was good to end it that way.
Great speech. Thank you for showing up today to give your speech. Glad to have you here. I really like that topic as well. It's like I'm totally obsessed about dieting and exercise. So anybody that ever talks about food, diet, exercise, I'm always kind of riveted. So I was really interested. You definitely sounded like a newscaster. You were looking at the camera. I thought the information was good. In terms of growth opportunities, I'm wondering if you could have not relied so much on the notes. I'm not sure, though, about newscasters, if you're supposed to use notes. Sometimes they just have the notes, but they're not really looking at the notes. I would have liked you to describe the doctor, the woman doctor, a little bit more. You said she shed 70 pounds. Maybe you could have said that at the beginning and described what she looked like at the beginning, so I could have gotten a visual. I don't know if it's possible, but sometimes telling a story holds the audience more than just reading a bunch of statistics. I don't know what Hansas are either. I thought your vocal variety could have been improved. Slow down, speed up, more emotion, less emotion. It was sort of consistent, too consistent.
Julia, I enjoyed the speech as well. I feel your voice is very strong, give you the authority. So when you actually go on, give out the details, make it feels like you know what you're talking about, and I can believe you. So that's great. One thing I would like to see is that if you can relax your face a little bit. I know you're looking at the camera, but if you can make people feel more approachable, I think the message will be even stronger.
Julia, just a few comments because a lot of things have already been said. I love the comparison. The data, I thought your eye contact was pretty well balanced between reading your notes and looking at the camera. Some growth opportunities, vocal. And I know when you're reading material, it can sound sort of straight. But especially when you were doing the comparison, maybe a shift in voice, so that I'm hearing, oh, there's a comparison, I'm hearing it. As well as when you're quoting others, maybe a change in voice. I would slow down just a little, because a few times you did stumble. And I don't know if it would have been appropriate to have maybe a visual, maybe just one little visual graph, especially when you're talking about data such as that. But it's very interesting. I might have to try that manual.
I enjoyed that commentator you gave about dieting versus exercise for weight loss. I think that you could have got the live audience a little bit more if you had said, what do you think is going to work for you? Or to get them in so you can tell them, here I'm going to give you the answer what the researchers found. So this was a news event or current issue on which the editorial was based. I don't know what date. I don't know if I heard you say a date or not. Okay. The date of the data was compiled. And what reaction did you have towards the news event? And I saw you expressing, yes, it was mentioned. It's not true that whatever. I'm trying to remember. I haven't had any blueberries. Excuse me. So, yeah, you definitely had some feelings in that. And you used very good logic, because when you're talking about what the researchers found, and there was quite a few persons in the research, so that made it come across as something very logical. Your words were chosen, short and clearly pronounced. Did the speaker relate convincingly to the television camera? Somewhat. It's mentioned before that you could have had a little bit more emotions. It should have had, I said it should have had more emotion, because the subject is very timely. Many people are concerned about their weight loss and their weight gain. So your appearance is very neat, and you look very nice. I did notice that your left side of the collar, lapel, I remember now, lapel, yeah. It should have been turned in a little bit. So both of them flat down.